Hello, and welcome to the May Arias at Avos. We're so excited to have you here, and I'm excited to introduce one of our singers for this month's digital program. But before we meet him, I would like to thank the Opera Fort Collins Guild and Fort Fund for their support of this programming. So I would like to introduce you to Thaddeus Ennen. He is a baritone originally from Iowa. He is currently in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, studying towards his doctoral degree at Louisiana State University. And he just finished up a production of Gianni Schicchi, where he sang the title role. He is headed shortly to Des Moines this summer to sing with Des Moines Metro Opera. He'll be singing in Russian, which is extra fun. He has sung with lots of companies, including Santa Fe Opera, Cedar Rapids Opera, Central City Opera, Pensacola Opera, Knoxville Opera, Opera Iowa, and the Brevard Music Center. He did his undergraduate at Simpson College and his master's at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and we are very excited to have him here. So I have told him that I like to ask just a few questions so you can get to know the artists. And so first, I guess, tell us, Tad, about your Colorado connection.
So in 2019, I had the opportunity to be in Central City, so just up into the mountains from Denver area, which you all know much better than I do, the location stuff. So I spent 2 months there in Central City. I sang the role of Yamadori in Madame Butterfly. I don't know if any of you were able to come see the shows there. They're amazing, like the way they do everything, and the opera house, the Central City experience, being in the mountains and performing at altitude is a whole different experience entirely for singers and for the orchestra and the pit in general. So it's kind of an exciting opportunity to be there and to do that. We also did Billy Budd in the season that I was there, and I sang Second Mate. And that is such a cool show because there's so many people on stage and there's so many guys up there just screaming their heads off. And so it's a really cool experience. If you've never had a chance to see it, I definitely recommend it. And Central City, they did it right. They hired the right people and they put the right people in place. And so it was really, really a great summer. It was unfortunate that the pandemic cut off this last summer, but they're going to be there this summer and doing some really cool stuff, I think, down in Denver this time. So check them out if you have time. But I love Colorado. I love to hike. I love to be outdoors. My wife and I like to backpack. And so we often make it to the Colorado area. I was actually out there skiing. I grew up skiing a lot, and so I go to Colorado ski. I've skied Aspen, Breckenridge, Winter Park, a lot. So I love being out there. I love your state, and I love the people there and everything. So I'm so glad to be able to sing for you and to, vicariously meet you through the internet here. So that's my connection to Colorado.
I think you might have been to more of Colorado than I have. So there you go. Yeah. So let us know, what are some of your favorite roles or musical experiences? One or two, maybe.
Yeah. So I was able to cover Rigoletto when I was a little younger. I was way too young to sing it, but I was given the opportunity to cover it and sing one of the orchestra rehearsals. And for me, that was such an amazing experience. It was a way to show me how much work and how hard it is to sing and to do all of these things as you grow up and grow into your voice, especially with the baritone voice. It takes a while to mature and to be able to grow into its own, if you will. So Rigoletto is a dream role for the future and a great musical experience in the past. I also would love to sing a Don Giovanni. I've worked the role. I've sang Leporello way back in a distant school dream. And I love the show, and I think it's just one of those classics that you never really want to get away from. So those are two big kind of roles for me.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about what you're singing on the program. Just sort of walk us through a little tour of your rep.
Yeah, so I offered 3 individual selections, and then Angela and myself did 2 duets. So I'll talk about the individual sections, and I'll let her talk about the duets. So I offered Questo Amore, which is from Edgar by Puccini. If you don't know that opera, it's okay. It's not that good of an opera. Puccini himself did not like this opera. He revised it and revised it and revised it, and he finally gave up. So when we learn Edgar and when we listen to Edgar, we listen to 2 or 3 really good arias, and then we just turn it off. So this was a great opportunity for Puccini to kind of find his way through opera composing at the time. And Questo Amore comes in the first act, I believe. Let me remember. Yeah, first act, and it's sung by the character Frank. And he is in love with the soprano, Tigrana, and she doesn't love him back. This is a classic opera tale, opera story that you're very familiar with. And the problem with it is is Tigrana loves Edgar, the tenor. So the baritone gets to sing a really, really nice loving aria about how he'll always love her no matter what she does, no matter how many times she laughs at him and puts him down, that he will ultimately love her. And so that's that first aria by Puccini. It's a beautiful aria. It's not super long, but it's just really a heartfelt and moving expression for the baritone. And then also the other two songs I sang, or arias I sang, you will for sure know. So I did Votre Toast, which is Toreador song from Carmen by Bizet. And Carmen is interesting because it was the very first opera of its kind performed at the Opera Comique in Paris. If you learned anything about French opera back at that time, they all have their own places. So Grand Opera, Opera Comique, and whatnot. And all these operas had to be performed in the correct place. So Carmen originally was written with dialogue instead of recit. So most of us at this point have heard Carmen produced and sung full through with recit instead of dialogue. And so it's a different way of looking at it. And that's kind of a distinction between the Grand Opera and the Opera Comique. So the Toreador song you all know. I hope you sing along at home with it because I know you know it. And it's just Escamillo, and he's walking into a bar and he's basically just showing off. He's awesome. He's the star. He's like the movie star of his time and his, location, we'll say. And so he goes into the bar and he sings his songs and kind of works his way with the ladies and enjoys a drink. So that's Toreador or Votre Toast by Bizet. And then the last one is Some Enchanted Evening, and that is from South Pacific. And that's a Rodgers and Hammerstein show. It's probably one of their most popular. So the show takes place during World War II on a South Pacific island. And it's a South Plantation owner singing to someone of his love for her and how he wants her to stay. And also, you know that song. It's a wonderful song, and it gets done all the time, and it's always worth listening to. So I hope you enjoyed what I offered up with that. And if you have anything else, feel free to reach out to me. You can always find me online.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to chat with you. And I know everyone's very excited to hear you sing.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yes. So we would like to jump in, and I'd like to introduce you. Many of you may know her, but we have soprano Angela Lamar. And you might know her because she did her bachelor's degree at CSU and was also a young artist at Opera Fort Collins for a bit. She's performed lots around Fort Collins, and she is currently pursuing a master's degree in vocal performance at Louisiana State University. So she's coming to us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She is doing all these wonderful things. Most recently, she sang the role of La Cesca in Gianni Schicchi. And this is so Thaddeus, our baritone, also sang in that same production. So they got to sing together, and they're singing together again in this program. She was also the youngest singer in the Denver Lyric Opera Guild finals this year, which is wonderful. So she has also studied abroad in Freiberg. And so I am excited to have you hear from her. So Angie, just real quick, since you have this Colorado connection, can you share with us any favorite things about Colorado or Colorado memories that you have?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I can honestly say, I miss Colorado a lot because it's just so beautiful. I mean, I don't know if any of you have been to Baton Rouge, but it's not Colorado. One of the most distinct memories I have is my friend and I once, I don't remember what the name of it was called, but we climbed the tallest peak in Colorado with zero preparation. Like, we had not been doing any 14ers prior to that. And was it Mount Albert or Elbert or something like that? Either way, we made it to the top, but it was not easy.
I'm curious, what time did you have to wake up to make that happen?
I think we got up at like 3 or 4.
Wow. Yeah. I have not climbed any large land masses. And so but I understand that those who do wake up quite early. So
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
good for you. Yeah.
You.
Can you tell us about any favorite musical experiences that you've had?
Yes. Oh, there have been so many. I enjoy all the musical experiences that I have. I would say one of the ones that stick out is when I was in Freiberg, Germany. We did a production of Dido and Aeneas with a period orchestra. So everybody was playing on period instruments and they were on stage with us. That was really, really nice. What an experience. I don't know if I'll ever have anything like that again.
Yeah, that's amazing. And in Germany too, it just makes
Yes.
it more like, I don't know, precious almost.
Yes.
Tell us so you have sung mezzo soprano, and then just this year you have quite successfully made the transition up to soprano. So you have this whole new, like, I don't know, library of repertoire to choose from. So do you have any dream roles that you want to sort of put out there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, someday I don't even know if my voice is heading in this direction, but I think it would be awesome to do a Lucia in Lucia di Lammermoor. That would be really fun. I love the music. It's so beautiful. And at the beginning of my time here at LSU, we were doing a production of Dialogues of the Carmelites, and I was singing Blanche, but unfortunately the production got canceled. So someday I would like to put that on stage.
So you have the role learned and coached
Mhm.
and everything?
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, people doing dialogues, come find Angie and
Yeah,
put her
right.
in it. Oh my gosh. So tell us if you could sort of walk us through what you're singing and just give us a little brief description of everything. That would be great. And you
Sure.
the duets too. So
Yes. Okay, I'll start with the duets then. So we started with La Cirarem from Don Giovanni by Mozart. And if you don't know, you should know the context of this, but it's basically Zerlina has just gotten married or she is betrothed. Usually it's around her wedding time. And Don Giovanni approaches her separate from her husband or partner and tries to coerce her into marrying him, whether or not he intends to. So this whole duet happens when the whole wedding party has gone to Don Giovanni's house and he's trying to woo her and get her to go home with him.
great.
The next duet that we did was the Papageno Papadigena duet from the Magic Flute. And that is right at the end of the show before the finale. And it's whenever Papageno is kind of feeling sad and lonely and he's looking for his love and he's, feeling suicidal to an extent. And basically the three spirits bring Papagena to him, and this duet happens right when they see each other again for the first time, and hopefully the last time they're going to have to be apart. And they just are expressing excitement about their future together.
Great. And how about you? What are you singing?
Oh, sorry, I'm singing Papagena in that.
Oh, sorry. In terms of arias, tell us about your stuff. I'm
Sorry.
excited to hear about it. No, Andy, you're fine.
So I will be singing Smanie Implacabili from Così fan tutte. Lots of Mozart in this program. There's 3 of them, just a heads up, but they're very different contexts. So Smanie is, it occurs kind of toward the beginning of the show whenever Dorabella's fiance tells her that he's going off to war, and she comes home and she's distraught and she's kind of just being overly dramatic about the whole thing. The next aria that I sang was Quando men vo from Puccini's La Bohème. And this happens in a cafe where Musetta's lover or ex-lover is kind of trying to ignore her or shun her, and she's not having it. So she's trying to get his attention by making a scene. I also sang, let me remind myself. I also sang Dido's Lament from Dido and Aeneas. If you're unfamiliar with the context, this happens at the very end of the show after Aeneas has left to go back home and has kind of abandoned Dido after committing his life to her. and she is in grief. She's basically dying of grief in this aria. And the last one that I sang was Du Prix de Jour, which I also sang at the D-Log competition finals. This is in Charpentier's Louise, and I believe it happens in the second half of the show, after she has left her parents' home to go be with her lover, who they did not accept. And she is reflecting on their time together and the first time they made love together.
Oh, yeah, it's so beautiful.
It is.
It's so beautiful. Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and thank you so much for singing. And we are excited to hear you.
Great. I'm happy to do it. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Lacerarem la mano, la mi dirai di sì. Veri non è lontano, partiam ben mio da qui. Vorrei e non vorrei, mi trema un poco il cor. Felice versarei, ma parlarmi ancor, Vieni mio bel diletto, mi fa pietà vasetto, io cangerò tua sorte. Questo non son più forte, non son più forte, non son più forte. Vieni, vieni, lacerarem la mano. Vorrei e non vorrei, la mi dirai di sì. Mi trema un poco il cor. Partiam ben mio da qui. Vieni mio bel diletto, io cangerò tua sorte. Non son più forte, non son più forte. Andiam, andiam, andiam. Some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger. You may see a stranger across a crowded room, and somehow you know even then, that somewhere you'll see her again and again. Some enchanted evening, someone may be laughing. You may hear her laughing across a crowded room, and night after night, as strange as it seems, the sound of her laughter will sing in your dreams. Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? Fools give you reasons, wise men never try. Some enchanted evening, when you find your true love, when you feel her call you across a crowded room, then fly to her side and make her your own, or all through your life you may dream all alone. Once you have found her, never let her go. Once you have found her, never L'amour, l'amour, talto, toe Bist du mir nun ganz gegeben? Nun bin ich dir ganz ergeben. Nun so sei mein liebes Weibchen. Nun so sei mein Herzensweibchen. Mein liebes Weibchen, mein liebes Weibchen. Welche Freude wird das sein? Welche Freude wird das sein? Wenn die Götter uns bedenken. Wenn die Götter uns bedenken. Unsere liebe Kinder schenken. Unsere liebe Kinder schenken. So liebe kleine Kinderlein. 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 So liebe kleine Kinderlein. So liebe kleine Kinderlein. Erst eine kleine Papageno. Eine kleine Papageno. Dann wieder eine Papageno. Dann wieder eine Papageno. 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 Es ist das höchste der Gefühle. Es ist das höchste der Gefühle. Die Eltern singen, werden sang. Es ist das höchste der Gefühle. Es ist das höchste der Gefühle. Wenn viele Papageno, der Eltern singen, werden sein. Papageno, 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 der Eltern Segen werden sein. Papageno, 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 der Eltern Segen werden sein, der Eltern Segen werden sein, der Eltern Segen werden sein. Papageno,